Caleb Wilson or Cameron BOOZER. 2 top 4 picks, 2 future stars, and we've already seen them go head to head. Caleb scored 35, Cam scored 23, but Cam and the Grizzlies walked away with the win. So which one would you rather build around? Let's settle it. Welcome back to Bulls Without Borders Battlegrounds, and this one is a little bit different. We're not comparing 2 established NBA stars, we're comparing 2 players who are only just beginning their NBA careers. Caleb Wilson, the 4th overall pick to the Chicago Bulls. Cameron BOOZER, the 3rd overall pick to the Memphis Grizzlies. And what's particularly interesting about this matchup is that these 2 already know each other extremely well. They were AAU teammates, college rivals, and now they're NBA rivals too. That last part is worth emphasizing because it is genuinely part of their story. So today we're going to score them across 7 categories, and remember the BWB Battle Score stays hidden until the very end. But before I kick it off, make sure to throw this video a like and ensure you're subscribed to the Bulls Without Borders channel on YouTube to make sure you catch all of the content from the entire team. Let's get straight into it then. Scoring is the category to kick it all off. And this one we give Caleb Wilson 82 and Cam BOOZER gets an 84. I'm giving Cameron BOOZER the first round, and the reason for this, even though it is really close, is that Caleb averaged 19.8 points per game as a freshman at North Carolina, shooting 57.8% from the field. Cam averaged 22.5 points at Duke while shooting 55.6%, and he also knocked down almost 40% from 3. Now, we've already seen what Caleb can do when he gets hot, particularly in their matchup in Summer League. He exploded for 35 points, including 7 3-pointers, the one thing everybody said he couldn't do. But Cam's scoring package is just a little more polished right now and a little more proven over time. So I'm giving him the edge. BOOZER goes into this 1-0. On to rebounding, second category then, and Wilson gets an 80 and BOOZER gets 84. Now, I know I've given another one to Cam, but there's a very simple reason for this. 10.2 rebounds per game, and that's exactly what he averaged as a freshman at Duke. Caleb was no slouch himself, averaging 9.4 rebounds per game, and his length and athleticism give him enormous potential here. But Cam's physicality, positioning, and the ability to control the glass give him the advantage in this one. Now, what we saw was that it translated immediately too, because in their first Summer League meeting, Cam grabbed 6 rebounds, 6 boards. And for that reason, BOOZER takes the second one and goes up 2-0. On to playmaking, and this one is a 78 to Wilson and an 88 to BOOZER. Now, this is where Cam starts to create a little bit of separation. Cam BOOZER averaged 4.1 assists per game at Duke. And for a 6'8", 250+ pound forward, that's pretty ridiculous. But it's not just the number. It's just the way he sees the floor. He can operate from the post, find cutters, make reads, and basically function as an offensive hub. For someone that size is just so rare. Caleb has passing ability. There's absolutely no doubt about that. But for right now, Cam is simply the more advanced, rounded playmaker. In fact, NBA.com specifically describes BOOZER's passing as the single skill separating him from all the other bigs in this class. BOOZER streaks ahead 3 rounds to 0. Defense then, and this is where Wilson makes things a little bit different. He gets an 84 and BOOZER takes 79. Okay, so now it is Caleb's turn. And this is the category where I think the argument gets really interesting. Wilson is an absolute freak athletically. He has length, mobility, explosiveness, shot blocking, defensive playmaking. In fact, at North Carolina, he averaged 1.4 blocks and 1.5 steals. And then he goes into Summer League and immediately gives us 3 blocks and 2 steals in that first game alone against Memphis. Cameron is a very intelligent defender and he has the physical tools to be effective. There's no doubt about it. But we're talking about defensive upside and defensive versatility. And if that's the case, I'm taking Caleb. Goes 3-1 then. Wilson takes one back. Into clutch. And Wilson has an 81. BOOZER has an 84. This one's troubling. This one's difficult because neither player has an NBA clutch resume yet. Obviously, they haven't stepped foot on an NBA floor for an official NBA game yet. So I'm judging this one on what we've seen from them under pressure. Remember that very first Summer League matchup. Chicago were down late. Caleb hit back-to-back threes in the final seconds, including one with 9 seconds left. He finished with 35 points, but Memphis still won 97-96. So why am I still giving Cam BOOZER the edge then? Because he's already shown an incredibly consistent ability to make winning plays, and he came away from that game with the victory. But this is very, very close. And Caleb even said himself that it didn't matter how many points he scored, they didn't get the win, which, by the way, is a personal thing that I love about Caleb Wilson. We're standing now at 4-1. Basketball IQ then, and Wilson gets an 81, BOOZER gets 92, and this is probably my biggest gap on the entire card. Cameron BOOZER gets that 92, and again, I'm not basing that on reputation. I'm basing it on exactly what we've seen. At Duke, he averaged 4.1 assists while also scoring 22.5 points and grabbing 10.2 rebounds. That's not just production, that's understanding how to influence a game in multiple ways. NBA.com describes BOOZER as an elite field player and a quick processor, and that's exactly what I see when I watch him play. Caleb has an excellent feel himself, but I think Cam is currently ahead in this category for now. BOOZER goes 5-1 up. On to career achievements then, and Wilson gets a 76, and BOOZER gets a 91. So finally, this one category where Caleb really didn't have much of a chance, much of a say in. And it's not because he isn't good enough, because his career has barely started. Cam's freshman season at Duke was ridiculous. You know, he got National Player of the Year, ACC Player of the Year, ACC Rookie of the Year, ACC Tournament MVP, first team All-American. Caleb was a consensus second team All-American and first team All-ACC selection. Now, that's an excellent resume, but Cam is simply stronger and his resume is just more packed. That makes it BOOZER 6 and Wilson 1. Okay, 6 categories to 1. So, is this battleground already over? Not necessarily. Because remember, those category scores aren't simply a popularity contest. The BWB Battle Score is our overall assessment of the player based on what we've seen. And actually, I'm going to make a promise right now. We're going to come back to this battleground. At the end of the 26-27 season, or getting towards the end of the season, once these guys have played practically a full NBA season, we're going to see where this stands. We're going to put the cards back down on the table. Same matchup, same categories, but this time we will have real NBA evidence. We'll see who developed faster, who made the bigger impact, and whether the scores we're giving them today still hold up. Because we're not just judging who they are today, we're documenting where their careers begin. So the BWB Battle Score then. Caleb Wilson gets 82 and Cam BOOZER gets 86. There's not a whole heap in it. Cameron BOOZER wins today's Battlegrounds 86-82, but take a look at the card. Caleb wins defense. He's right there in scoring. He's right there in clutch. And we're talking about a player who has barely started his NBA career. Okay, granted, they're both in that boat together. And let's remember what happened when these two actually met. Caleb scored 35, Cam scored 23, but Cam got the win. That's exactly why I think this is such a fascinating rivalry. And personally, I don't see this ending the same way by the end of the season, which is exactly why I'll be coming back to it. But now I want your answer. Forget the battle score for a second. If you're starting a franchise today and you have one pick, Caleb Wilson or Cameron BOOZER, and I don't want you telling me who you think is better today. Tell me who you would build your team around. And when we do revisit this at the end of the season, I'm coming back to these comments. And if you enjoyed today's Battleground, make sure that you check out Jimmy Butler versus Ben Gordon. And if you want to see where the whole thing started, go back to our original one, the one that kicked it all off, the 1v1 battleground of Jordan versus LeBron, the GOAT debate. Thanks for watching Bulls Without Borders Battlegrounds. Remember to like and subscribe to Bulls Without Borders to catch the live panel every week across 3 continents, as well as hot takes episodes by Hayes. Until next time, keep debating.